All right, so are you ready to dive into some seriously strange stuff today? We're talking UFOs, UAPs, the whole nine yards.
I mean, it's a topic that just never gets old, right?
Absolutely. And, the thing is, we've got firsthand accounts, stories from people you wouldn't expect,
Mhm.
like military pilots, astronauts,
Even a journalist.
right? People whose job it is to observe and report accurately.
Yeah, you don't get much more credible than that.
Exactly. And their story, I got to tell you, they're pretty mind-blowing.
Hmm.
But before we get into all that,
Sure.
let's just level set here for a sec. When we say UFO and UAP, what are we actually talking about?
Okay, good point. Because I feel like those terms, they get thrown around a lot.
They do. They do.
So UFO, unidentified flying object, that's basically anything you see in the sky that you can't immediately identify.
Right. Okay. Basic, straightforward.
Right. But UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, that's a little bit more specific.
How come?
It refers to anything unusual happening in the airspace. So it could be an object, but it could also be like a light or some weird energy signature that you're picking up.
Oh, wow. Okay. So like a UFO could be a UAP, but a UAP isn't always a UFO.
Exactly.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of UFOs, one case that always comes to mind is the Phoenix Lights.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Back in 1997, thousands of people saw this massive V-shaped formation of lights just hovering over the city.
I mean, this wasn't some grainy photo, right?
No, no,
This was a mass sighting.
like the whole city was looking up at this thing. And the crazy part is we actually have radar data that backs up all those eyewitness accounts.
Even the FAA had to admit that those lights weren't any known aircraft.
And then you have Dr. Lynn Kitei, who actually witnessed the Phoenix Lights herself.
Yeah.
She went on to do some incredible research on the event.
She gathered even more data, highlighted all the inconsistencies in the official explanations.
Because, yeah, didn't the authorities try to say those lights were just military flares or something?
That was their story, yeah. But Dr. Kite pointed out that, like, the timing of the lights, the movement, none of it matched up with the type of flares the military uses.
And then you have people like Mel.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the Air Force pilot.
He was actually flying that night and saw the object up close.
What did he say about it?
He described it as this huge, silent V-shaped object with lights all along its underside.
And I heard he claimed that his gun camera was recording the whole encounter.
Wait, hold on. Are we talking actual gun camera footage of the Phoenix Lights craft? Why haven't we seen this?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Mel's account and a lot of others, they suggest that there's a lot more information about these events that's being kept from the public.
You're talking about government secrecy, the whole, like, Men in Black conspiracy stuff.
Exactly. It's a huge hurdle in this field.
It's so frustrating, though. It's like they're trying to hide something big. But something else that I find really interesting are these so-called alien editorials.
Oh, yeah. What are those all about?
So basically people who claim to have had contact with these beings during close encounters. They say they've received messages, warnings, about things like our use of nuclear weapons and the need to take better care of the environment.
It's almost like they're trying to give us a wake-up call.
Right. Like, hey, humans, get your act together.
It makes you wonder, though, why not just intervene directly? Why with all the secrecy and mystery?
Right. If they're so concerned about us blowing ourselves up, why not just step in and stop us?
Yeah, that's a question researchers have been trying to answer for a long time.
It's a real head scratcher.
Hmm.
But then you have cases like that incident at the Russian ICBM base, where UFOs were seen maneuvering over the base and even like inputting launch codes.
Whoa, that's terrifying.
Right. So clearly they are capable of interfering, but they choose not to in most cases.
Mm.
It's like they're following some kind of non-interference directive.
It really deepens the mystery, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And then there's the whole question of, are we dealing with one unified group of aliens, or are there multiple civilizations out there with different agendas?
Like a cosmic United Nations.
Right. And we don't even have observer status.
Right.
So we've got possible government cover-ups, cryptic messages about nukes, and maybe even multiple alien players on the board. This is getting pretty wild.
Yeah, and we're just getting started, because next we're going to dive into one of the most mind-blowing theories out there. The possibility that some of these aliens might actually be us from the future.
Wait, time-traveling humans. Okay, you officially have my attention.
We'll get into all that after the break.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good.
Okay, so time-traveling humans. I gotta admit, that's a new one for me.
It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right?
It does, but then again, a lot of this stuff does.
Exactly. But here's the thing. There's actually a surprising amount of evidence that kind of fits with this theory.
Really? Like what?
Well, there's this anthropologist, Mike Masters,
Okay.
and he argues that the beings we often describe as, like, gray aliens. You know, the ones with the large heads and almond-shaped eyes?
Right, yeah. Classic alien look.
He thinks they could actually be humans.
Humans.
But like humans who've evolved along a different path.
Like a separate branch of evolution.
Exactly. Maybe they adapted to life in space or even in a different timeline, and that's why they look so different?
So instead of little green men from Mars, we're talking Homo sapiens 2.0.
Basically. Yeah, it's a pretty wild concept.
It is wild. So if this theory is right, why would these future humans be so interested in us? Are they just like checking in on their ancestors?
Curiosity might be part of it, but Masters suggests something a little bit more profound.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
He points to the grandfather paradox.
The what now?
The grandfather paradox. It's this idea that if you go back in time and you change something, you could accidentally erase your own existence.
Whoa, that's heavy.
Right. So his theory is that these time travelers might be intervening in certain events to make sure that their timeline, our future, survives.
Okay, so that would explain why they seem so fixated on our nuclear capability.
Exactly. They're not just watching, they're making sure we don't blow ourselves back to the Stone Age and accidentally wipe them out in the process.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
So is there any actual evidence to back up this time travel theory, or is it all just speculation?
There is some pretty compelling stuff out there. Believe it or not, ancient petroglyphs and cave paintings from all over the world depict beings that are eerily similar to modern descriptions of gray aliens.
Wait, are you serious? Like cavemen were drawing pictures of gray aliens?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like Jonathan Redbird Dover, he's a retired Navajo ranger, and he spent years studying these ancient markings.
Okay.
And he believes they show a long history of interaction between humans and these beings, maybe stretching back thousands of years.
So we're talking potential contact with time-traveling humans, or maybe even extraterrestrials way back when the pyramids were being built.
It's a possibility, and the depictions are pretty specific, too.
Like what kind of depictions are we talking about?
Well, some of the most striking examples come from the Fremont culture in what's now Utah. They left behind these petroglyphs showing figures with large heads, almond-shaped eyes, and even what appear to be spacesuits and helmets.
Spacesuits.
Yeah.
Thousands of years ago. How's that even possible?
It's hard to explain, but the images are there. And it's not just the Fremont culture either.
Really?
Cave paintings in France, rock carvings in Australia, ancient temples in South America, they all feature these strangely humanoid figures that defy easy explanation.
It's like a global game of archaeological telephone, passing down this knowledge of the others through generations.
That's a great way to put it. So the question is, if these time travelers, or maybe extraterrestrials, were visiting us in the past, what were they doing? Were they just observing us, or were they actively involved in our development?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Were they shaping human history in some way?
It's mind-boggling to think about.
It really is. One thing's for sure, though, we are definitely not alone in the universe.
Absolutely. And the more we learn, the more we realize how little we actually know.
And you know what's really fascinating is that in recent years, there have been some major developments that suggest the government might finally be changing its tune on this whole UFO, UAP thing.
Oh yeah, like what?
We're talking hints of disclosure whistleblowers coming forward, even official acknowledgement of UAPs that exhibit technology that we can't even explain.
This is where things start to get really interesting. We're seeing a shift away from dismissal and secrecy towards a more open and scientific approach to investigating these phenomena.
It's like we're on the verge of a major paradigm shift.
Yeah.
A moment where our understanding of our place in the universe could completely change.
It's an exciting time to be involved in this field, that's for sure.
It really is. So are you ready to explore these groundbreaking developments? Because that's what we're going to be talking about in our final segment. The latest evidence and what it could mean for the future of humanity.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're back. And remember how we were talking about government secrecy? Well, it seems like those walls might finally be starting to crumble.
Yeah, definitely seems like things are changing.
Like you have people like Bob Jacobs.
The lieutenant who filmed that UFO messing with missile tests.
Back in the 60s.
Right. And he was ordered to keep quiet about it for decades.
Imagine the weight of that. Having to keep a secret like that for so long.
And his story, it's not even unique.
No, not at all.
There are multiple missile operators who have reported similar incidents, UFOs tampering with nuclear facilities all over the globe.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how much they've been hiding.
Right. And why the focus on our nukes?
It's like they're trying to send us a message, like, hey, be careful with these things.
A cosmic warning sign.
Exactly. And then you have researchers like George Knapp.
Oh, man. He's been digging into this stuff for years.
This investigation into that ARO report was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah. ARO, the government's official UAP investigation office, they basically said there's no evidence of extraterrestrial activity.
But Knapp, he wasn't buying it.
Nope. He dug deeper and found all these cases that ARO seemed to just ignore.
Like Bob Jacobs' testimony, the reports from those missile operators.
It's like, even with these supposed efforts at transparency, they're still holding back.
It's frustrating.
It is. But here's the thing. Despite all the roadblocks, the truth is slowly starting to come out.
Slowly but surely.
Like, we even have former intelligence officials claiming that the government has materials retrieved from crashed UFOs.
Whoa, seriously.
Yeah. It's a huge claim. If it's true, it means not only are we not alone, but governments have known about it for a long time.
And they've been keeping it under wraps.
Studying the technology, maybe even reverse engineering it.
All while the public is kept in the dark.
Imagine the technological leaps we could make if we had access to that kind of knowledge.
It would be revolutionary energy production, space travel, you name it.
It would change everything.
It really would. But for now, we're left with more questions than answers.
What will it take for the full truth to come out? What secrets are they still hiding?
It's a mystery.
It is. But one thing's for sure, we're on the verge of something big.
It feels like a new era.
An era where the reality of UFOs and UAPs is finally acknowledged.
And explored openly.
It's a time of great uncertainty, but also incredible potential.
We need to keep pushing for transparency.
Demand the release of all the information.
The truth is out there. We deserve to know it.
After all this, one thing is certain. The truth about our place in the universe is far more complex than we ever imagined.
We are not alone.
The reality of UFOs and UAPs challenges everything we thought we knew.
It invites us to explore the unknown with open minds and a sense of wonder.
The truth is out there.
The truth is here.
The truth is here.